Madeleines are small sponge cakes originating from northeastern France. The recipe dates back at least to the 18th century. They became famous worldwide with Marcel Proust's book In Search of Lost Time, but they've always been very popular with French people, especially with kids. To make Madeleine, it takes patience and carefully following the instructions. Today we're going to share with you our recipe and some tips to get the perfect Madeleines. What do you need to make Madeleines? First, for the equipment, you can use a hand mixer with the whisk and a spatula, or you can use a stand mixer like this one. So today we're going to use a stand mixer with the whisk attachment and the paddle attachment. You also need a microplane or zester to get the zest off the lemon, a piping bag and piping tip for when you're ready to put the dough in the molds, or you could use 2 spoons for that as well. Now for the ingredients, you need flour, butter, eggs, sugar. You need a pinch of salt, baking powder, honey, vanilla extract, and we also use lemon zest and lemon flavor. To get the most flavor, grate the zest on the sugar and rub it with your finger to release the oil from the rind. If you use vanilla bean, rub it with the sugar as well. Start mixing on medium to high speed. Mix until it gets foamy. Stop when all the sugar is dissolved, but not more than that. Add the baking powder to the flour so that it gets distributed evenly. Add the flour in 3 times to avoid creating lumps. Switch to the paddle attachment or a spatula if you're doing it by hand, and mix on low-medium speed. If you bake in a humid environment, you can sift the flour before adding it to the dough. Remember to scrape the sides so that you get all the flour in the dough. Keep mixing until the dough becomes slightly elastic. You can see the air bubbles starting to form and the dough stretching to the sides of the bowl. Add the butter all at once if you're using a mixer, or you can add it in 2 or 3 times if you're doing it by hand. Remember to scrape the sides here as well so that all the butter gets evenly mixed in the dough. Mix until it becomes slightly elastic again and you can see the air bubbles starting to form. Transfer the dough to a bowl where it's gonna stay in the fridge for 2 hours at least. Cover the dough with a film wrap so it doesn't get dry. To make Madeleine, you will need special pans like these ones. They have this unique shape, the shell shape imprint, and that's one of the distinctive features of the Madeleine. They have the shell shape on the bottom and a hump on the top. And you can use metal molds or silicone molds, work just as well. The dough is slightly firm and you can see the air bubbles of a nice sponge cake. Place the dough in a piping bag or use 2 spoons to fill the pan. Closing the bag and pushing it all the way down. And then I'm going to put maybe 2/3 of the imprint, but I don't want to fill it all the way because the madeleines will rise when they bake. So if you fill it too much, they're just gonna go all over the place, and just keep it inside about 2/3 of the imprint. Make sure your madeleine batter comes right out of the fridge when you're going to put it in the oven, because if it's too warm, it won't rise as well and you won't have that nice little bump. So for your oven, first you're going to heat it up to 430 Fahrenheit. And when you're ready to put the madeleines inside, you lower it down to 380. That's very important. Lower it to 380, put your timer for about 5.5 minutes. After that, you lower your oven again at 350 and you bake another 5 or 6 minutes. And then your madeleines will be ready. Madeleine should be slightly brown and crispy on the outside and lighter on the top of the hump. And there should be slightly spongy inside when you open them.